world where a lot of people are starting to venture into the sitting with and reconnection to indigenous, powerful, natural plant medicines and energy, I found it massively important for people to acquaint themselves with what's the process and the honor and the reverence of an ancient and older way and powerful way in connecting in that to facilitate one's own healing and the healing of our world. Our guest today is a facilitator in the healing arts, in the ho'o mana mana way, energetic practitioner, healing facilitator, and Reiki. She has been such a wonderful light here in Tucson and was my first friends and one of the first people we got to encounter here. And she's helped a lot of people and is helping a lot of people in a more powerful way and integrated way, adventurous way, and helping just bridge people in that capacity, working with Olympic athletes, working with individuals that are performing at a high level. She's been doing this practice for about the last 6 years, and I'd say, a lot of her life in film and just being a light once more and helping people soften in the integration of all the chaos in life. And I think that her medicine is imperative and important now to help with that process of integration and what that means and what that feels like. And I think this will be a very gentle yet necessary and potent episode. And how can one maximize the power within and utilizing these old, powerful allies that are meant to be tour guides, as she likes to say, and helping us navigate this journey in life, y'all. So welcome with energy and with love and with grace, Annelise, Cherie.
Hello, Dr. Jamal. Thank you so much for having me on this beautiful podcast that you've created and curated. I'm so excited to be here.
Makes two of us, sis. Makes two of us. And, to dive right into things, what do you think is most important in helping people reshift their perspective and how to move in grace, in humility, and in reverence with sitting with different plant medicines and allies?
I think that one of the biggest and most important things to remember when you seek essentially ancient wisdom is modern application. How can you take these ancient tools that were integral in the development of our species and integrate it into your life so that you can create a better reality, a better experience? If I were to simplify that down, embodiment of these teachings, embodiment of these understandings, this knowledge and these lessons. It's a huge piece that I feel people overlook. They turn to plant medicines or alternative therapies like energy work or breath work, or there's a whole world of them, right? And I think oftentimes people go to those places looking for something to do the work for them, looking for something to make them better. And it's okay. That's how we've been trained. That's how we've been conditioned. Like, go take a pill, feel better. Go do this and you'll feel better. But there's not actually healing. There's medicating in that, right? And that extends really, really, really far. So it's nobody's fault, of course, to be in that mind of like, I need to go somewhere for something to heal me. I would never, and I make this so clear with my clients all the time, I'm not healing you. I'm your tour guide. I'm creating a space, a facilitation for you to connect deeper to your truth, your awareness, your understanding of self, so that you can be aware of how you can be a better person. The parts of yourself that are in your blind sight, the shadows, and bringing those aspects of yourself to the light. And, there's practitioners like myself that can, of course, help facilitate that process. There's also plants that can help facilitate that process on different levels. And, fundamentally, I think back to when I started this business and my entry point into a spiritual path. And it was with plant medicine. It was with ayahuasca. And I'm very blessed, and I thank God for this every day, that I was introduced through the Shipibo tribe, in proper facilitation, in proper ceremony, in the jungle, where it grows. And then in addition to that, was blessed enough to be at a center that incorporated integration plants as well. So not just working with a mind-bending third eye crown chakra explosive plant, but then having the opportunity to go into isolation and work with mapacho tobacco and literally not be allowed to see anybody for days, and just working with tobacco as an emotional cleanser. It goes through the body and it helps. It's a very earth element. It helps ground and integrate and help you process and internalize what just happened, what just happened to me. So long story short, to answer that, it's embodiment, it's integration. No matter what your entry point is to expanding your perspective, integration is always going to be key. I don't believe that we're meant to cut the human experience and live in a spiritual reality. I believe we're meant to take the spiritual experience and embody it into a human reality. We're here, we're in a body. We're meant to live as a human being. We're meant to live with the complexity of emotions and the complexity of being alive. We're complex beings, and it's beautiful. My most recent trip to Peru, the medicine ayahuasca, she was showing me a lot about boundaries and what they meant, and she was also showing me about positive and negative energies. And my internal representation at first, she would take me into these beautifully explosive places of just magic, like Avatar stuff, and I was like, wow, this is so awesome. And then she would very quickly pull me down into what felt like the depths of hell, just complete darkness. And I would be like, I hate this, get me out of here. And she was like, that's really interesting that you don't want to be down here. And I was like, well, yeah, who would want to be down here in this darkness? It's so much better up in the light. And she was like, well, that right there, that's kind of a problem, isn't it? Because life is duality. Mm-hmm. It's the law of dichotomy. And you can't discredit one part of beingness. They both matter. One can't exist without the other. And it was a huge realization that, I had been creating a lot of shame and judgment, not only on I'll just say on myself, about if I had a depressive episode or if I had a lower vibrational experience. There was a lot of judgment of I need to be doing better, and this is wrong, and this is telling me that things are out of alignment. And in fact, yes, I think lower vibrational experiences are an indication that there are things to become aware of.
Oh, that's so good.
Right? It's not that it's wrong though.
Yes.
That's the thing. It's not wrong. It's a mirror. It's a reflection of hey, sometimes we have to go into the darkness to learn the things that we don't understand and see. Right? Yeah. And it really was important. I mean, it helped me better serve my clients. It helped me better serve myself. To realize accept all life. Welcome all life. Be grateful for all of it.
Yeah.
It's all there for us. It's all there to serve us. Yeah. As above, so below.
Oh my goodness. I love the opportunity to reflect and giving a really tangible kind of footsteps or stairs for people to give them permission. Mm-hmm. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with you experiencing anger, frustration, sadness, anxiety, especially, the last few years. It's been, I think, divinely and intelligently created for us all to experience this thing, as life isn't just the good and the beautiful, and there's mechanisms that are designed in our nervous system for us to even be able to dissociate when it's too much.
Absolutely.
And yet, if you're not quelling the emotions, all of them, understanding, observing, appreciating, extracting the wisdom, the knowledge, and I think the difference between wisdom and knowledge can be something that you might see in any experience. That's its very raw form. But wisdom is when you're able to actually pull it into embodiment. And I think of one of my favorite people, Ruby Fremont. Shout out to you. She's going to be on this podcast. She talks about, how do you know when one is integrated? And it's when there's an embodiment, and it's when there's a behavioral change.
Yes.
And I'd say behavioral change consistently.
Yes.
And depthfully. Because when you're then able to revisit similar trauma or stimuli that can enter into your field, into your experience as this spiritual being having a human experience, well, then the space in between that becomes such a potent and juicy opportunity for us to take that in and to really shift it into direct application in our energy, because then people will see you. Like seeing you in the various trips that you've taken to go facilitate in California, to go learn more in the way of the native way that you've discovered out in Hawaii, and then into the jungle. You coming back from that, you feel different. Your eyes are bright. I am.
I'm so different.
And there's a difference, because then I think a lot of people are doing their best. Everyone's doing their best.
Yep.
And it's one thing to be like, I used, or like you said, like grandmother ayahuasca healed me, or this healing practitioner healed me, Annelise healed me, Dr. J healed me. Staring at real back at them, it's like, I didn't do anything. I helped create the space for you to ultimately heal yourself.
100%. You know, to speak to what you were saying just a moment ago, my favorite quote of all time by Britt Marling from the TV show, The OA, which is so phenomenal. She says, knowledge is just a rumor until the body knows it. You have to take an idea, a concept that sits in the mind, and learn how to integrate it into the body, the cells, for it to actually become part of your beingness. And again, it all comes back to the integration aspect. Like, if you go to seek higher knowledge, which is what all of this is, there's a responsibility to that.
Yeah.
There's a responsibility to learning.
How would you define responsibility?
Responsibility. Yep.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, responsibility. I mean, at the end of the day, what is the point of seeking higher knowledge? It is so that you have a larger rolodex, if you will, of emotions to rely on, of, you know, different ways to handle situations that naturally would just come from like a response, like a reactive space, right? Where it's like you go and you do this work to learn how to not be so reactive, to have a responsibility, a decision within you to stop. How do I want to show up for this? How do I want to respond to this? What's my intention in how I respond? What is the outcome that I seek within this exchange? You know, that's, again, it all goes back to integrating these lessons.
I love that you're saying, you know, people seeking higher knowledge. When I think higher knowledge, I think bigger, and or I think higher from like a perspective sense, like a global sense, a more aware sense. Us as a individual who has an ego or perceives sense of self, yet when we have these bigger experiences, we can experience more of what is God, universe, more of what's available. We're more sensitive to the individuals around us and what they're, as empaths, as we're all empaths, we all can perceive. Like, there are more sensitive people, of course, that may have this gift, but we all have this gift. Now, with this increased awareness, information, knowledge, I love that as the rumor, you know, how do we want to pull that into ourselves, and how do we want to let these individual cells, where there's 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 trillion cells all working cohesively as the individual across from me, Annelise, myself, Lou, who's recording this, those who are listening to this, you know, how are those cells now taking this stimulus and then transmuting into something that is in alignment with our intention and how we want to live our lives, our legacy, and how we want to live our lives in a very macro sense. Yet the micro of that macro is then the day-to-day conversations, how you're driving by yourself and how you're responding to then people who might cut you off, or like I always think of like, it's not like the practice of meditation, or it's not like, you know, the flex or the sharing of what might be shared on social media, but it's in the day-to-day. It's how do you talk to your mother? It's how do you talk to your partner? It's how do you talk to yourself?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, those little micro aspects of life are actually what amount to the big ones.
Yes.
It's a combination of that. And something that it brings to mind as you're talking is, and part of what I offer in service to people is helping people understand what is energy. And I think that there's this concept of like, oh, there's this energy circuit, and there is. But I want to just kind of anchor this in and ground it and make it very simple for people to consider in their own lives. Energy is just your thoughts. You know, your thoughts actually create emotional experiences. If you think of something happy, it makes you happy. If you think something sad, it makes you sad. There's a physical response. And it also, and we can all resonate with this, like if we are having a bad day, that problem follows us throughout the whole day. We just see constant evidence of things not going right and just being in a depressive state. So it really helps you understand that energy is our thoughts. Our thoughts are energy. And if you can modulate or bring in higher level concepts or a deeper connection to God or whatever it is, you're expanding your neurology. You're expanding the way that you can experience the world and see the world. You know, that saying, we don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. Mm-hmm. It's so true. Everything's a mirror and a reflection back to the internal environment, you know, what's happening inside us. And we will always see evidence of what we believe in the most, especially our unconscious beliefs. So when you work with plant medicine, or you do Ho'omana or Reiki or energy practices, even chiropractic work on some level can facilitate the space when done with proper intention, right? It is giving you a direct connection to the central nervous system. It is giving you a direct connection to your energetic circuit, your unconscious mind, how you're actually processing and dealing with yourself, your thoughts, your emotions. What are your actual beliefs? What are your foundational programs? Who are you? And, you know, these tools, the ancients knew this. The plants know this. It's you know, I go to this halau in Hawaii, and it's so funny because it's run by a bunch of psychologists, and we had a quantum physics class, and we got into the like true mechanism of energy work and chakras. And, you know, we actually now have devices that can measure chakras like 6 feet from the body in our main energy centers. And my teacher, Dr. Matt James, was saying that they were, you know, for so long we were under the belief that energy, like the smallest particle that we knew, was an atom, right? And then they were able to split the atom, and then they found 4 frequencies inside of that. Okay, and he was like, what do you think those 4 frequencies are? And we also, by the way, have 4 frequencies in the brain, right? Theta, delta, gamma, and can't think of the 4th. Alpha, yeah. He's like, what do you think those frequencies are? And he's like, they're the elements. And he's like, they're the 4 elements, which is fundamentally what makes up everything in this universe. Like, the energy is elements. We are elements. Our body are elements. We're constructed of the universe and what the materials of it are. So I just thought that was really cool.
No, I love that. It's actually fascinating because I think of delta, theta, alpha, beta, and gamma as there's 5.
Kiave, which is the 5th element.
Okay.
Which is God.
This is good.
Yeah.
As that's just another layer of things, because if the brain is a receiver and it's operating in delta, theta, alpha, beta, or gamma, it undulates through them. Something that's come through is health is a continuum. Mm-hmm. You're not just like healthy or not healthy. It's you're moving towards more health or you're moving towards less health. Yes. In an energetic state or in an energetic understanding of things, you're moving towards being able to navigate and view things constructively or deconstructively, because the same thing can happen to me or you. Insert, I don't know, door gets kicked in here. Our bodies are built to respond to us unconsciously of needing to defend, whatever it may be, due to both of our perspectives and our cumulative perspectives of this life. And based upon how clear we are, we're going to be able to navigate that more sustainably and with more responsibility. And as we understand how that can affect us, I like the emotions. I see it in the triune of life. There's a triune of life where it's 3 parts. It's this beautiful triangle of matter, aka the body, this experience that we're having here in the 3D. There's the intelligence, which there's a universal intelligence. You could view a natural intelligence that operates and orchestrates the world, and you know why the earth doesn't fall out of the sky or out of the solar system. And it's all just laws of organization. It's all just laws of nature, which then brings in energy that completes the triune, which then bridges the intelligence to the matter. Mm-hmm. The intelligence, if it didn't have energy, it wouldn't have access or a bridge to the matter to then reorganize it and to animate it or to help it heal, to help it evolve and adapt. Yep. If the matter wasn't present, there would be nothing for the intelligence to be expressed through. Mm-hmm. Then there brings in this emotion. What is energy? Energy is a bridge for us to be able to come back to that which organizes us as nature, because we are nature. And if you're able to then observe your thoughts, observe your emotions, it begins to become the most potent tool that we can utilize to then move the energy through us to then into a more constructive way and destructive way. There's a lot of people that are not aware of how this even works, so I imagine they're moving as best as they can once more, but in a perhaps unsustainable, destructive way. Mm-hmm. And when one is able to begin to master their emotions, which then lead to biochemistry in the matter, mm-hmm. you can influence the emotions you want to experience now in the present moment versus getting lost in the perspectives of the future or the past. Mm-hmm. As one of my mentors, Dr. Joe Dispenza, his life's work revolves around this. Dr. Bruce Lipton, I was reviewing the biology of belief. Amazing. And the placebo effect. And there can be an awareness or an opinion, a perspective that the placebo effect, like, applied to whatever healing modality or expression that, oh, well, that's just the placebo effect, whatever. But people can take a sugar pill and think that their cancer is healing or think that their insert chronic disease is healing, when in fact it's simply the belief that it is working through them. But innately we already are equipped with the natural technology that is available to all 7.5 billion of us currently in this day and age. Yet the billions upon billions of humans that came before us were more attuned to having more of a higher skill set with in navigating to begin with, shown through us in the plants, which you beautifully articulated, as the plants are what revealed themselves to us to be able to teach the ancients how to work in communion, how to work in partnership with them in the first place, which then leads to then the expressions and modalities of whether it be grandmother, ayahuasca, hape, tobacco, and pick it. I was like, but it's available to us because it's supposed to be.
Exactly. I mean, again, there's tons of evidence that our evolution began working in collaboration with psychoactive medicine. It gives us higher level ideas, higher level concepts. You know, nature, we are nature, and nature wants us to succeed. We're a creation of it. It's working for us. You know, we're the ones that fundamentally get in our own way. It's giving us everything we need. Will we receive that? And that's up for us to decide. And I don't think it's any coincidence that we're seeing such a massive rise in alternative therapies and plant facilitation, because people are realizing, and it's true, it's time. We have to change collectively as a society, as human beings. We have to evolve, and we have to learn to come back into resonance with this earth, which is really coming back into resonance with our bodies. I mean, we fundamentally live in a sick environment.
Yes.
We're in a sick petri dish. Living healthy is a discipline, not a natural state anymore. And we have to figure out what that means. And we have to discern and understand from our truth, not from people telling us, what is health for me? Because it will be different on some level. It always leads to the same things. But
principles.
Exactly. Yes. And so it's just, being healthy right now is a discipline. It's a choice. If you're going to just attune to the natural flow and rhythm of society, you're going to be sick, because we live in a sick society.
And I'd say it's an unnatural flow of society.
Yes.
So if you allow yourself to just waft in that river, referencing Selena's episode, number 43, if you just allow yourself to waft or float in this river of unnatural living, which is set intentionally by the powers that can govern majority of society in this current moment, then you will become more sick. However, I love that line, that health is a discipline, or living healthy is a discipline, because it requires discernment and it requires a discovery of what are the principles that can bring you back into a tone of health, tone of recuperation, tone of integration, and allow yourself to find that dance and find that harmony within of what's too much, what's not enough, so that way you can continue to grow. Because, Dr. Brett says this, and it's, Earth wants to help us. Nature wants to have us succeed.
100%. I couldn't agree more. I mean, some of my plant my plant experiences that I've had with ayahuasca and such, every single time, the plants are there to love us, support us, and encourage us to grow. They want us to get the lessons. They want us to change. They want us to evolve and become the full expressions of what we're meant to be.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
We are magical human beings. All of us are. And if you're listening to this or watching this, trust me, you are too, even if you don't believe it. You said something earlier. We all have these energetic abilities because this is part of our operation system. This isn't like, oh, Annelise, she's like a psychic and, can see energy. Like, guess what? We all can. I just took the time to really deeply connect and attune myself to this understanding and this natural intelligence that exists within all of us. I've dedicated my life to it.
Yes.
But we all can do this.
Yes.
Again, like I said earlier, which is why when a client comes to see me, I'm like, I'm just a tour guide. I'm holding a facilitation in a space from my beingness for you to connect to your beingness.
Give me some. Damn it, that's good.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with plants. People have this, I think this idea that ayahuasca is there to heal them. Oh, go drink plants, they're going to heal you. But if you look at the medicine wheel, and many shamans have shared this with me, ayahuasca is a teacher, not a healer. Ayahuasca is there to teach you. And with knowledge, you heal. With perspective expansion, you discover. You see a broader tool set, if you will, of the things that you can use and work with in your life instead of just what's programmed into you in your childhood. It gives you a broader understanding of self, a broader understanding of reality. Knowledge is, in my opinion, healing. Awareness is healing. That's what all of this is. At the end of the day, if you really look at it, every spiritual practice, every ancient belief, everything, it all comes back to knowledge, and it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about how thoughts are energy. So of course knowledge is healing. Of course understanding is healing. But again, I'm going to quote Spider-Man.
Do that.
With great power comes great responsibility. And knowledge is power. And as you start to awaken to the powers of the universe, it really is, there's a responsibility to that. And I always tell people, who a man chooses to become once he awakens to the wisdom of the universe is what defines him as a being. Because it's a powerful tool. And there are responsibilities. And how do you want to work with that? And we've seen in history, in society, people use that understanding, that power in both directions. And, I'm not here to say what's right or wrong, but I am here to say that there is a responsibility to that. Just as I would say, and again, why I've created Light in the Jungle with myself, Stephanie Garvey, and Eric Mussman, is because a lot of people, they go down to the jungle and they obtain all this knowledge and self-understanding and all of this awareness of who they are. And their minds are blown open and they come back into their life with a heightened understanding and awareness of society and life, yet they're not sure, what do I do? How do I integrate this stuff back into my life? Do I just stop everything and start over? Sometimes, yeah, right? But the thing is that that's when these other tools work so beautifully in congruence with, altered states of reality, because you do have to learn how to take that knowledge and learn how to integrate it into life, learn how to integrate it into your everyday. Who do I want to become with this understanding? Who do I want to become with this wisdom and this awareness? How do I want to serve? How do I want to serve myself? And being in service is not just so on the nose, like I'm a chiropractor, or I'm a healer, or I'm a coach. It can be through music. It can be through art.
Yes.
It can be being a barista at a coffee shop, because at the end of the day, it's not what you're doing, it's how you're doing it that is cultivating a space of service or not.
So good. When I hear you speaking on grandmother ayahuasca, she's a teacher. I just revisited her. I pictured a classroom. You don't have to listen to the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
It's if you want to and if you're ready to. Are you open and are you willing to? So based upon whatever experience you encounter, dance, plant medicine, chiropractic, whatever it may be, are you taking it upon yourself to extract what's valuable and what's potent, what's powerful and pure, and transmute it into your own expression and things? And I think without that, because people can scoff at, oh, plant medicine, you're just doing that weird shit. Whatever people might say. Well, it's cool. That's just one venue. However, well, are you then doing the work to then make sure that you're progressing, to then make sure that you're in alignment with your intention? Or are you kind of just then scoffing at what's outside of you? Or what are you doing to re-examine the soil within, so that way your soil, your body, your garden is exuding life, is exuding vitality, is exuding purpose, is exuding service. That's in alignment with that which you want to see in the world. And it all starts and ends with us, as I hear, it's a responsibility. And I had a beautiful reflection yesterday, or 2 days ago. Someone's like, brother, you're anointed. And she was just admonished me and saying that, my words are reaching Tucson and reaching the people and doing the thing that I'm setting them out to do. And I saw that as like a God wink or a universal wink, that like, yo, Jay, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing, Jamal. Like, you're doing amazing. But more so like, yo, you're being amazing, which is the end goal for all things. But it's a remembered responsibility, because we chose, for whatever reason, to volunteer right now. At this time, we're all volunteers.
Yeah, we're shifting humanity and consciousness as we know it. And this time, I imagine, will be studied forever in history. The integration of technology with the rise of human consciousness. And to speak to what you were just saying, remembering, Jamal, what you do for yourself, you make possible for the world around you. And, how you fundamentally choose to honor yourself, how you choose to show up in the world becomes medicine for others to do the same. You're creating a frequency. Your neurology literally is creating a reality in which people can go into, experience, and existence. So if you yourself create an environment of healing, you're creating an energetic force, a thought field that is healing. Yeah. That is what that
Straight
is.
Up.
And people need that. We need that right now. We all did. I needed it. Yeah.
They'll innately crave it. It's a sign of progress. I got a question in a second, but one thing I dropped in was external technology has, you could say maximally, I think maximum is like something to be explored still, but it's increased the speed in which you can potentially move, and it's increased the access to information. Why is that important? A lot of people are getting blown out with so much access to information that they don't know how to navigate. Information is energy just condensed into certain forms and thought forms and graspable bits for us to then perceive. Yet still there's the opportunity, well, what do you want to do that? Because if people are just navigating, say, Instagram or TikTok or whatever, they're exposing themselves to a lot of different information. But if they're not taking that, reckoning with that, sitting with that, and choosing what they want to do with it, or how they even want to engage with it in the first place, well, their nervous system is going to get blown out. And when their nervous system gets blown out, well, then the unconscious mind, the unconscious body, which takes up 90% of our thoughts, feelings, actions, beliefs, and holds the software in which we see and perceive the world, well, then you're just going to default to what you may unconsciously be doing and unconsciously being, which then gives rise to once more the responsibility of being disciplined and having discernment, and then choosing what you want to do with, so it can turn into a constructive force.
100%. And you know what else does that besides technology?
Tell me.
Plant medicine. It is also a flux of information and an overload of stimuli. And it's the exact same process, what you just explained.
Wow.
It's nature's technology.
Yeah.
And so this, again, exactly what you're saying, to navigate this influx and this information generation, we have to integrate it, right? We have to kind of push out what doesn't matter, focus on what does, assign our thoughts, our energy a direction, like an aim.
Assign, choose.
Yeah, create an aim. This is where I'm going. And it's, again, not only with modern technology, but also with ancient technologies, which is plant technology, plant medicines. That's technology. Like,
how would you define technology?
That's such a great question. Technology. Maybe for me, what's coming alive in this moment, not a question I've thought about before, but something outside of yourself that produces information to learn. So that, I think, is a good way to define technology, both nature and man-made. It's an intelligence outside of you that you are connected to in some way that can offer support and tools, understanding and learning, which can be the greatest thing in the world and simultaneously the most destructive, depending on how you work with that.
Because I think a part of natural technology is that which we're embedded with, and me and Lou have been talking to and navigating trauma, and the mind, it can be your greatest ally or your greatest enemy. Why? Because us being conscious creatures, we have the opportunity to go into the future or the past whenever we want. And why is that important? Well, that's important because then, depending upon how you navigate that and how well you can connect to the present moment responsibly, it can maximize your responsiveness and how you choose to move through the world with that awareness of the external or the natural technology that's outside of you. Because it can be a catalyst, it can be like an accelerator, an accelerant to how you want to move. And if you're in alignment with your intention, well, then it's either going to expedite the manifestation of that intention in yourselves and in your life and outside your life, or it's going to, if you're not moving with your intention and someone else's intention, well, then your energy is going to go towards that collectively, or from one person to collectively. That's, I think you've given some good grasp to the importance of creating an aim. Which I like that. That could be, I think, an AKA for intention. It's creating an aim.
Absolutely. I mean, where focus goes, energy flows. So if you're clear both on an unconscious and conscious level about what it is you're focusing on, then there's going to be a very strong streamline of energy that generates the resources and the direction that you're moving. Fundamentally, the issue, which is why I have my alignment, healing, and coaching business, there's often misalignments with words, actions, thoughts, and unconscious beliefs, which can be classified as well as baggage, like belief systems that you don't even realize are there. And again, the work that I provide and facilitate, it brings you into a deep meditative state and allows you to kind of see, like, where are the incongruencies? Where are the misalignments, like with what I'm saying versus what I'm doing, what I believe versus what I want? And answering those questions is the most powerful tool in the universe, because you can then start to streamline a clear trajectory of like, wow, obviously, like, this belief and that action are canceling each other out. No wonder I'm in a spin wheel. The energy doesn't understand where to go. I'm not assigning it a proper path. And, when you do release work like ho'oku'u or MER therapy, whatever it might be, you are clearing out these beliefs that could be a derivative of like unconscious anger, fear, guilt, shame, whatever it might be, sadness. You're cleaning up the neurology, and you're able to have better discernment about what your aim is. Why do I want this? What's the emotional need behind this desire, this path?
It's good.
Yeah.
I love how you just bridge needs into it, as your needs are what's alive inside you, and based upon your ability to meet those needs or the lack of meeting those needs will lead to a life that you are wanting to live, craving to live, or it will continue to allow for the life that you don't want to be at.
Absolutely.
I love that you also, I pictured very vividly, canceling each other out. Well, this is where I want to go, and I'm saying this, but my energy and my actions aren't following it. So how can people maximize their belief, their thought congruency, their energy congruency, their belief congruency, their action congruency? It comes in the integration. It comes in the revisiting of where am I at now, and finding grace. Okay, well, maybe that's not it. So how can I restill my aim, or what's most important to me? Is one of my favorite questions I like to ask my clients at the source and coaching clients. It's what's most important right now for you. Yep. So that way they can then allocate their resources to that. And based upon their level of clarity, it will actually be, is that more so ego-minded, or is that more so soul-oriented?
Yes, absolutely. And there's a difference. Being able to read energy, as I do, there's always a difference in frequency. When someone's talking, you can always feel, where is that resonance coming from within them? Is it coming from a more ego persona, or is it coming from a true soul calling? There's a different frequency. One feels a little bit dense and less energized.
Yeah.
And the other is just a streamline of high frequency, and you can feel it. The person can feel it. That's what's so incredible, is like, we always know. It's so mesmerizing to me. I've worked with, I don't even know how many people at this point in my life, but definitely in the thousands. And it never fails. It's like, there's nothing I'm going to share with you that you don't already know on some level. Like, I'm just going to help you focus on these, like, bring these parts in you that are already there to the conscious mind.
Mm-hmm. Because then the conscious mind can affect the unconscious mind.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, just recently, I just came back from school in Hawaii, and one of the psychologists said to me that I thought this was such a brilliant analogy to help people understand what's actually happening in the mind. Your conscious mind is the captain of the ship. It says, we're going to Treasure Island, right? The unconscious mind is the crew. They're the ones that actually make things happen. They're the ones that are actually like getting the ship together and off sailing in the direction that it needs to go. So if you're not cleaned up in the unconscious mind, then you're basically like a captain, like, we're going to go to Captain Cook Island or Treasure Island or whatever. And your crew is like, cool, but like, we've got like ripped sails and like, we don't have proper ropes. And like, how are we supposed to get there? Like, we're just going to work with what we have. It's not a very great operation system. And this is why, change happens on an unconscious level. And yes, that again is like when alternative therapies are so integral. I mean, the school that I go to, again, half the school are psychologists that are understanding, like, we got to get past, talk therapy and just conscious behavioral therapy. Like, we got to get deeper into the unconscious and make changes on that level, because they both matter, but that's integral to actually shifting, is cleaning up the unconscious mind, the neurology, connecting to the unconscious mind, realizing that you do have two brain functions, theoretically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I love I think that's a beautiful, beautiful analogy, and understanding if your crew's not aligned with the captain's wishes, well, then you're not going to get to where you want to go, let alone you're not going to get to where you want to go at the speed that you could potentially desire. Or I picture that river, like the unconscious mind, it's just flowing. Or when someone's on a soul purpose, it's just flowing, like it's easy, it's grace-filled, it's potent, it's powerful. So the more that we can reattune this beautiful bodies to channel that focus with alignment of the conscious and the unconscious mind, well, that's how magic happens.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, life is magic.
Do we want to see it?
Yeah, exactly. Because only those that choose to see it will see it. That's a promise.
Yeah, that just is.
Yeah.
Because we get to choose, because once it's a responsibility.
Yeah, I often take little bits from like the Bible and stuff, not in the way that it was taught, but I take it and I apply it to more like philosophy and concepts of mental construct, how to use the mind.
Sure.
And that saying of like, only the worthy will see. It's to me a direct metaphor of like, only those that choose to believe in the miracle of life will experience the miracle of life.
Yes.
And it's just, again, remembering, like, if you are here to challenge something and to disprove it, you're missing it.
Say that again.
Yeah. If you're here to disprove, a higher level of intelligence or magic or whatever you want to call it, you'll succeed.
Yes.
You will succeed. Because this level of knowledge and wisdom and application is a reward to believing.
Oh, man.
It's a reward. It's a gift. And who decides if you are worthy of it or not? You. Yourself.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on, as I've visited in the past, and there's people that like to say evidence-based practices, reality and things, and I can appreciate research. Brett once said, one of the first things he said when I first met him in 2017 is, research was meant to perpetuate and allow for more of what's possible. And I think a lot of people have taken that the other way and like to use research to disprove what is possible. And like you said, it's all about what their intention is. But if you look towards the evidence of biology or the evidence of life, it's all around us. It's simply a principle, but it's, do we want to acquaint ourselves to, or ask people, what evidence are you willing to believe, or what evidence is acceptable for you? Because the evidence of life is assimilation, excretion, reproduction, growth, and adaptability. Mm-hmm. And I think a sixth sign that I've taught on the past is recognition. Mm. So if something's assimilating, it's alive. If something's excreting, it's alive. If something's reproducing of thought, not just like genes, it's alive. If something's adapting, becoming more efficient, more potent, energetically at things, it's alive. If something's growing muscularly, or there's growth to things, it's alive. And if something's able to recognize life itself and others, it's alive. Mm-hmm. And that to me is evidence enough that things are shifting, that something's alive. And I'm just curious to, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, it completely brings up exactly what I believe in, which is, if you believe it, then it's true. Because every thought is an energetic frequency. It's literally neurology in the mind generating and energetically investing in an idea, a concept. And the more people that believe in a shared belief or shared reality, the bigger that becomes, the truer that it seems, and the bigger impact that it generates. Reality within itself, like, there is no such thing as a fixed reality.
No.
It's just what we give belief to. It's what we give our energy to. So to kind of speak to what you're saying, it's like, yeah, if you believe it, then so be it.
Right.
There's just, that is how it is. Yeah.
I mean, that gives me a real solace. It's keep doing what I'm doing, being how I'm being, and being a light for people consistently, so I can showcase what's possible.
Absolutely.
Because it's available for everybody. Mm-hmm. And regardless of what other people want to believe, do in my profession, outside of my profession, it's not up to me. It never was. And, I know I will attract the people at the source, the people that we collaborate with relationship-wise, and building community. It's of I'll just say it's of a positive mindset. Mm-hmm. People can take it however they want, but this is where I believe in what I've studied, what I've devoted my life to, and bridging people to a natural way of being, healing, and then authentically, powerfully living.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at evidence of early cultures, right? We lived in communities of shared realities and beliefs. We didn't live in an entire society that was forced to be under one belief system.
Ooh, that's important. That's so important. It's not supposed to be just one. That's convergent thinking.
Yeah, it was never meant to be a one-track mind.
Damn.
There's a one-track truth that shows up as like a universal truth in the many different ways to experiencing something. And like, you see that because look at all these different ancient systems that theoretically are just the same thing. In Japanese culture, you have the yin and yang, and a lot of esoteric teachings, you have law of dichotomy. Christianity, as above, so below. Like, there's very clear evidence of a universal truth that shows up in millions of different ways of interpretation. So it's just, we're not meant to live under one belief and one reality, and especially in a one-tracked way. We never have been. And we thrive when we're in community of like-minded individuals. We thrive when we're in community of people who are, choosing to live and believe in the same way. That's how we've always thrived.
Tribe.
It is what we seek. I mean, at the end of the day, most people I work with, and myself included, I'm not separate from this. I mean, everything I speak of are journeys I've had to go on in myself.
Right.
And it's like the simplest of things is what we seek as a society right now. Tribe, a sense of belonging, community, health, freedom. That's what we've lost.
Yeah. We've
lost it. And that's the very core essence of what makes being a human being so unbelievably exceptional. And we're taking it away. And we're getting further and further away from it. And we're connecting in community in artificial ways through technology, not even being in the same place, which, again, on one hand, there's benefit to that. But right now, like, what the soul is yearning for is to come back to its true nature. And we have to, because that's where our balance is. We have to come back into alignment with this earth, come back into alignment with ourselves. We have to understand what it is we really are seeking within everything.
Because if we don't re-examine that, our species will perish.
Yeah.
Because it's like when I hear have to, it's like we have to if we want to thrive as a species, legacy-wise.
Yep.
That's like the biggest have, because if not, then we will pass and Mother Earth will be here for more billions of years, with or without us.
Absolutely. And it takes me back to my third ever ceremony in 2016. And I was journeying with her, and at the very end of the ceremony, she just goes like, "Hey, I want to show you something really quick before you go." And I was like, "Okay."
Hey.
Yeah, real quick. Even though, like, this is not real quick information, but she gave it to me fast. And she just was like, your species is, walking the brink of a really big extinction right now. And the decision for that to change is dependent upon your generation and the ones that are being born right now. And she was like, what you guys do, and she said the children beneath you, so like my niece's age, like the 2, 3, 4-year-olds right now, they're the last generation to become the word that she used, and it's very important that you hear this, that those children become self-realized. And if they become self-realized, then you guys will continue as a species. If they don't, checkmate. And that will happen in your lifetime. Obviously, it's why I stopped everything I was doing and went on this path, because it was so real. And it wasn't just real like, whoa, that was like sensory crazy. I felt it in my soul, as we all do. And, she said our responsibility, our generation, we got to set that framework for these younger kids. We got to give them the space and the ability to become self-realized and make those very clear decisions about who they need to be and who they want to become. And that's a responsibility that we all hold. It's a responsibility we've always held. But it's big right now. The stakes are high. And, again, this goes back to what I'm saying. Knowledge is a responsibility. And when you truly start to wake up to the mechanisms of the universe, when you truly start to understand this bigger connection between all things in the universe, there's responsibility to that. And that decision impacts us all. This stuff's real. And even most recently when I was in Peru, I'm an open book. I share my stuff. I'm still healing and working. We all are, right? Like, there was something I was really stuck on in my life. And it got to a point where I was like, I need some supernatural aid. I need to go speak with a non-human being about this.
Straight up.
And
you sought counsel outside of your species.
Yes.
Wow.
And she showed me this thing that I've been struggling with for most of my life. And she just said, I need you to understand something, Annelise. The exchange of not shifting this is your life. People don't understand that. The exchange to not doing the work is your life. And that hit me, went from a concept to a knowing on such a level that I was like, wow, when we don't do the things we know we need to do, when we don't make the adjustments in our life that is being asked of us from God, from the universe, whatever you want to call it, from our soul, the exchange is your life. It's your happiness. It's your path. It's your progression, because you don't get to move forward. If you have clear indication of what it is that needs to shift and change, but you're not doing anything about it, you don't get to move on. You stay in that space. Why would you learn more? Why would you get more knowledge? Why would you gain more insight? You have to, again, the integration aspect, you have to really acknowledge what needs to be changed in that present moment. Do something about it so that you can expand and grow and take on more concept, more life, more reality. But that hit, I was like, I never really understood that, you know. It's like, I think that we just get so caught up in the emotion of these things that we don't even realize, like, yeah, you're caught up in the emotion, but what are you losing while you're drowning in the water? Your life.
I hear this, and it's like I hear that, and I'll devote my life to this. I already have more humans enjoying what it means to be human together.
Mm-hmm. If you can do it for yourself, it's a gift, it's an opportunity, it's an honor, but also a responsibility to help others get there too.
What a blessing.
Yeah, it is.
It doesn't feel heavy for me in this moment.
Never.
I'm like, I love this.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing to do.
It's why I'm here.
It's why I'm here.
Yeah. 100%. It's why so many of us are here.
Yeah.
Why most of us are here.
Yeah.
Because someone was that for me once.
Same.
Someone's still that for me now.
Same.
So, you know, we're all here to help each other. Everybody has a student and a teacher. Everyone.
If you take that responsibility,
It's
good. Annelise, what do you have cooking for anybody that wants to connect to you? How do they find you? And, you know, is there anything that they can connect to you or enter your space?
Yes. So, again, I am hosting with two others, Eric Mussman, Stephanie Garvey, Light in the Jungle, which is a 2-month integrative coaching program with 2 weeks in Peru of working with all the master plants with the Shipibo tribe. Then a month before and after of integration and preparation medicine. That's Light in the Jungle. You can go to lightinthejungle.com or at Light in the Jungle on Instagram. You can also find me on annelisemindset.com if you are curious about working with me to get yourself aligned. And
a little bit of sass.
And also social media at Annelise Cherie, which is more like my live journal. I just am what I am on there. And yeah, it is. And yeah, so I look forward to connecting to anybody that feels called to. And thank you for listening and taking the time to be here, to the listeners, to the viewers.
Oh, man, this was so beautiful. I'm so filled. One final question for you. How would you describe your flavor of soul coffee to the world?
My flavor of soul coffee is funky dunky s'more. Funky dunky s'more, purple haze.
Oh, man. So sounds accurate and delicious. Oh, my goodness, yo. Please reach out to Annelise with all the offerings that she be. Feel free to tune into her journal and all things. Sister, thank you so much for blessing Soul Coffee with this, as I just feel so much hope and so much inspiration. It's such fulfillment. So I know this has been a time cooking in for a bit now, and I just thank you for all that you be.
Same with you, Jamal. Thank you so much for creating this and giving a platform for people to share their voices and for you to share yours. It's so powerful. It's been medicine for me, even the space that you've held in my life. And Alex, who's filming this. And everyone at Source, really. So, yeah. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, and thank you so much. Well, y'all, until next time, peace.